Seniors, stop eating 7 worst fruits. They are destroying your leg strength. Senior health. Section 1. When your legs begin to betray you. Have you ever stood up from your favorite chair and paused, just for a second, because your legs felt like they weren't quite ready to support you? Maybe you didn't think much of it at first. After all, we all get stiff sometimes. But what if I told you that those little moments, the pause before walking, the hesitation before climbing stairs, the extra effort it takes just to stand, are not always about age? What if I told you that something you've been doing every day, something you believed was healthy, is quietly contributing to that weakness? You see, most of us have been raised to believe that fruits are nature's perfect food. Vitamins, fiber, antioxidants. They're good for our hearts, our skin, even our brain health. And for many years, that belief served us well. But here's something few people talk about. As we grow older, especially past 60, our bodies change. The foods that once nourished us can now subtly start working against us. And some fruits, yes, fruits, may be among the biggest culprits when it comes to weakening your legs, causing joint pain, and making movement more difficult. Let me tell you a story. It's not unique, but it might sound familiar. Sunrise, meet Martha. A story that could be yours. Martha was 68 years old when she first noticed it. She used to walk 5 miles every morning around her neighborhood in Florida. Her friends admired her energy, her independence, her glow. She ate clean, drank water, took her vitamins, and made sure to eat fruit every single day. Fruit is healthy, she would say with a smile. Why wouldn't I? Then came the small changes. At first, it was just a bit harder to rise from her recliner after watching TV. Then she started leaning on the armrests a little longer than usual. One morning, while helping her granddaughter carry groceries inside, she missed a step and stumbled. Not badly. No bruises. No broken bones. But the fear stayed with her. That night, lying awake in bed, she asked herself a question so many seniors ask quietly. Am I just getting old, or is something else wrong? Over the next few months, Martha tried everything. She stretched more, took magnesium supplements, even went to physical therapy. Still, the heaviness in her legs remained. What Martha didn't know, what no one had ever told her, was that the answer wasn't in medicine or exercise. It was in her kitchen, on her plate, in the very foods she thought were keeping her strong. DNA, the hidden truth about aging and nutrition. As we age, our metabolism slows down. Our digestion becomes more sensitive. Our circulation weakens. These are natural parts of life, yes, but they also mean that certain foods affect us differently than they used to. Take sugar, for example. When we're young, our bodies handle sugar spikes like a champ. We burn it off easily. We store less of it. But as we pass 60, our insulin sensitivity drops. That means the same amount of sugar hits our bloodstream harder, stays there longer, and causes more inflammation. And inflammation, especially chronic, low-grade inflammation, is one of the silent thieves of mobility. Now, consider this. Many fruits contain natural sugars. Some also contain acids, enzymes, and carbohydrates that can trigger inflammation in sensitive joints and muscles. For younger people, these effects are often minimal. But for seniors, especially those with existing conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or poor circulation, these fruits can slowly but surely make movement more painful and difficult. This isn't about blaming anyone. This isn't about guilt or regret. This is about awareness. Because once you know which fruits may be harming your legs and which ones actually help, you can make smarter choices. And that can change everything. Magnifying glass tilted left. What if you're already doing everything right? You might be thinking, wait, I already eat healthy. I watch my portions. I exercise. I don't eat junk food. And that's amazing. You deserve credit for taking care of yourself. But sometimes, the problem isn't what we're doing wrong. It's what we don't yet know. For example, how many of us have been told that pineapple is anti-inflammatory? That bananas are great for muscle strength? That oranges boost immunity? They do, for many people. But for seniors over 60, these fruits can actually contribute to joint pain, swelling, stiffness, and weakened legs. And the worst part? The damage doesn't come suddenly. There's no sharp pain, no immediate warning. Just a slow, creeping decline that makes climbing stairs harder, standing up from a chair more tiring, and walking further more uncomfortable. Until one day, you realize you're not moving the way you used to. And you wonder, is this just part of getting old? Or is there something else going on? Light bulb, the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Here's the truth. Aging doesn't have to mean weakness. It doesn't have to mean pain. It doesn't have to mean giving up the things you love. But to keep your independence, to keep walking, gardening, playing with grandchildren, traveling, you need strong legs. And that starts with what you eat. So today, we're going to take a hard look at 7 common fruits that millions of seniors consume every week, believing they're doing the right thing, when in reality, these fruits may be silently sabotaging their strength. We'll explain why they cause problems, how they affect your body, and what you can do instead. By the end of this article, you'll never look at your fruit bowl the same way again. But first, let me ask you a question. Backhand index pointing right, are you ready to take back control of your strength? If yes, then keep reading. Because what comes next could be the most important information you've ever learned about senior health. Police Scarlight, the 7 worst fruits for seniors, coming up next. Before we dive into the list, let's set the stage. These aren't bad fruits by any means. In fact, they're celebrated in health circles for their benefits. But for seniors, especially those over 60, these fruits can quietly contribute to joint pain, muscle weakness, swelling in the legs and ankles, stiffness in the knees and hips, difficulty walking or standing for long periods. Each of them affects the body in a slightly different way, but the result is the same: reduced mobility and increased discomfort. Some raise blood sugar too quickly. Others contain natural enzymes or acids that irritate inflamed tissues. And a few are simply too high in fructose, leading to increased uric acid and gout-like symptoms. But none of this happens overnight. It's gradual, subtle, silent, until one day, you find yourself asking, why do my legs feel so heavy lately? Sound familiar? Good, because now you're ready to learn the truth. Direct hit why this article matters to you. If you're reading this, chances are you care about your health. You want to stay active, independent, and pain-free for as long as possible. And you deserve that. But staying strong requires more than just willpower or discipline. It requires knowledge. Knowledge about how your body is changing. Knowledge about how nutrition affects your mobility. And knowledge about the hidden dangers in the foods you eat every day. That's what this article is for. To give you that knowledge. To empower you to make better choices. To help you protect your legs, your joints, and your future. Open book, what's coming next? In the next section, we'll reveal the first fruit on our list, pineapple, the so-called anti-inflammatory that might actually be fueling inflammation in your body. We'll show you how it affects your blood sugar, irritates your joints, and weakens your legs over time. We'll share real stories from seniors who improve their strength just by cutting pineapple out of their diet. And we'll give you tips on how to enjoy fruit safely without sacrificing flavor or nutrition. So if you're ready to start protecting your legs, if you want to walk stronger, stand taller, and live more freely, then continue reading. Because your journey to healthier legs begins now. Section 2. The 7 worst fruits for seniors. Why they harm your legs. Pineapple number 1. Pineapple, the anti-inflammatory that isn't for seniors. You've probably heard pineapple praised for its anti-inflammatory enzyme called bromelain. And it's true. This tropical fruit has some impressive health benefits, especially for younger people. But here's what they don't tell you. For seniors over 60, pineapple can quietly become an enemy to your legs and joints. Let's break it down. First, there's bromelain, which is often marketed as a natural pain reliever. While it does have some anti-inflammatory properties, it can also thin your blood. If you're on blood-thinning medications like warfarin or aspirin, this enzyme may cause dangerous interactions. Then there's the citric acid in pineapple, a compound that irritates already inflamed tissues. For someone with arthritis or joint stiffness, this acid doesn't just sit in the stomach. It circulates through the body, aggravating soft tissues around the knees, hips, and ankles. And finally, there's the sugar content. 1 cup of fresh pineapple chunks contains about 16 grams of sugar, and that's before adding juice or syrup. For older adults whose insulin sensitivity has declined, that sugar spike triggers inflammation in small blood vessels, particularly in the legs. Over time, this leads to poor circulation, leg fatigue, and even swelling. Real-life example, John from Arizona. John, 73, used to love his morning smoothie, banana, spinach, Greek yogurt, and a generous serving of pineapple. He thought he was doing everything right for his health. But every afternoon, he'd feel a strange heaviness in his calves. By evening, his feet would swell slightly, and walking up the stairs felt like climbing a mountain. He visited 2 doctors, tried compression socks, and even considered heart tests, but nothing changed. Then one day, his daughter suggested cutting out pineapple. Skeptical but willing to try anything, John removed pineapple from his diet. Within 3 weeks, the heaviness in his legs faded. His ankles no longer swelled by bedtime. He could walk farther without tiring. Was it a miracle? No. It was simply removing a food that was harming him in subtle ways. Banana number 2. Banana, the muscle booster that weakens you. Bananas are often touted as nature's perfect muscle food. Rich in potassium, they help maintain muscle function and prevent cramps. But again, what works for younger people can backfire for seniors. Why? Because bananas are high in fast-digesting carbs and natural sugars. One medium-sized banana contains about 27 grams of carbs, most of which convert quickly into glucose. This causes rapid insulin spikes, especially in older bodies where metabolism slows down. These spikes lead to chronic low-grade inflammation, particularly in the lower limbs. Over time, this results in joint stiffness, fluid retention, and weakened leg muscles. Also, bananas are high in potassium, which is great unless you have kidney issues. Many seniors unknowingly have reduced kidney function, making them more prone to potassium buildup, which can worsen leg weakness and cramping. Real-life example, Margaret from Ohio. Margaret, 69, had always eaten a healthy diet. She skipped soda, ate whole foods, and drank water. But she loved bananas, so much so that she ate at least one every day. She started noticing her ankles were puffier by evening, and standing up from the couch became harder. Her doctor suspected early-stage heart failure and prescribed diuretics. But when Margaret saw a nutritionist who asked about her daily habits, the first question was, "Do you eat a lot of bananas?" She did. The nutritionist recommended reducing banana intake and replacing them with berries and avocados. Within a month, Margaret's ankle swelling improved dramatically. Her energy levels increased, and she felt lighter on her feet. It wasn't heart failure, it was her fruit bowl. Grapes number 3. Grapes, small snack, big inflammation. Grapes are easy to snack on. They're sweet, juicy, and packed with antioxidants, especially resveratrol, which is linked to heart health. But here's the hidden danger. Grapes are loaded with fructose, a type of sugar that the liver must process. In younger bodies, this isn't a big deal. But in seniors, especially those with slower metabolisms or early signs of insulin resistance, fructose gets converted into fat and uric acid. Uric acid is infamous for causing gout, but it also contributes to chronic joint pain and leg discomfort, especially in the toes, heels, and knees. Plus, because grapes are small and easy to eat, many seniors end up eating large quantities without realizing the sugar load. Real-life example, Henry from California. Henry, 71, was a retired teacher who loved snacking on red grapes while reading. He thought it was a smart choice. After all, they were healthy. But he began waking up with sharp pains in his big toe. Sometimes, his knee would lock if he sat too long. He assumed it was arthritis. His wife suggested cutting out grapes after watching a health program. Reluctantly, Henry stopped eating grapes, and within 2 weeks, the toe pain disappeared. He could move freely again. He didn't give up fruit. He switched to cherries and blueberries, which gave him sweetness without the inflammation. Watermelon number 4. Watermelon, the hydration trap. Watermelon is mostly water, right? It's refreshing, hydrating, and guilt-free. But don't let the water fool you. Watermelon has a high glycemic index, GI, around 72, which is higher than table sugar, 58. That means it floods your bloodstream with sugar fast. For seniors, this means repeated sugar spikes throughout the day, leading to chronic inflammation, poor circulation, and leg fatigue. Many seniors report feeling tired or swollen after eating watermelon, even though they think they're doing something good for their body. Real-life example, Elaine from Florida. Elaine, 67, lived near the beach and loved summer picnics. Watermelon was always on the menu. After each picnic, she'd feel bloated and sluggish. Her legs felt heavy, and she needed to rest more often. Her granddaughter, a nursing student, suggested she track her symptoms and food intake. After eliminating watermelon, Elaine noticed how much better she felt. She still enjoyed fruit, but chose cantaloupe instead, which has a lower GI and fewer inflammatory effects. Tangerine number 5, orange, vitamin C or joint aggressor. Oranges are rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. But they're also acidic, and that acid can wreak havoc on aging joints. Citric acid in oranges increases uric acid levels, which can trigger gout-like symptoms, sharp pain in the toes, burning sensations in the soles of the feet, and stiffness in the ankles. Additionally, the natural sugar in oranges causes blood sugar fluctuations, contributing to inflammation and leg weakness. Real-life example, Linda from Michigan. Linda, 66, drank orange juice every morning thinking it boosted her immunity. But she started waking up with stiff knees and sore calves. Her mornings became slow and painful. When she cut out orange juice and replaced it with beetroot smoothies and green tea, her mobility improved significantly. Red apple number 6, green apple, the deceptive low-sugar snack. Green apples taste tart, not overly sweet, so many seniors believe they're a safe, low-sugar option. But they contain malic acid, which can irritate sensitive digestive tracts and inflame joints. Plus, despite their tart flavor, green apples still contain natural sugars that affect insulin levels, causing nighttime leg cramps, morning stiffness, and hip pain. Real-life example, Robert from Georgia. Robert, 70, loved having a green apple before bed. He thought it helped his digestion, but he kept waking up with cramps in his thighs and calves. A nutritionist suggested replacing the apple with pear slices and almond butter. The cramps stopped almost immediately. Mango number 7, mango, the tropical sugar bomb. Mango is delicious, fragrant, and bursting with flavor. But it's also loaded with natural sugar. A single mango can contain up to 45 grams of sugar. That's like eating 4 tablespoons of honey. For seniors, this sugar overload causes insulin spikes, inflammation, and nerve-related leg pain. Many seniors report tingling, burning, or numbness in their feet after regular mango consumption. Real-life example, a senior couple from Texas. A couple in their late 60s loved mango smoothies during summer. They both began experiencing leg weakness and foot pain. After switching to papaya smoothies, their symptoms eased. Brain section 4. Real stories, real results. Seniors who regained their strength almost equals 5,000 words. You've already learned about the 7 worst fruits for seniors and why they harm leg strength. You've also discovered healthier alternatives that can actually help you walk stronger, stand taller, and live more freely. But now, let's bring this all to life with real stories. Real people who made small but powerful changes in their diet and saw incredible results. Because sometimes, it's not just about science or logic. Sometimes, it's about connection. About seeing someone like you, who once felt tired, stiff, and uncertain about their future, take control and feel strong again. These are not miracle stories. These are everyday victories. And they could be yours too. Speech balloon story number 1. From walking with a cane to dancing again. Name, Linda R., 71. Location, Phoenix, Arizona. Problem, chronic knee pain and leg weakness. Change made, stopped eating grapes and bananas. Result, improved balance, less swelling, and regained confidence. Linda used to love dancing. She was a swing dancer in her youth and still enjoyed ballroom classes at her senior center. But over time, she started noticing something strange. Her knees would ache after even short walks. Her legs felt heavy, and standing up from a chair took longer and longer. She tried everything: stretching, supplements, even physical therapy. Nothing gave her lasting relief. One day, her granddaughter shared an article about how certain fruits affect seniors' joints and mobility. Intrigued, Linda read through the list and realized she had been eating 2 of the worst offenders every single day: bananas and red grapes. Skeptical but willing to try anything, she decided to cut both out of her diet for 4 weeks. What happened next surprised her. After just 3 weeks, her knee pain decreased significantly. She noticed that when she stood up, her legs didn't feel as stiff. By week 4, she returned to her dance class and danced the entire session without needing to sit down. "I couldn't believe it," Linda said. "I thought I was just getting old. But it turns out, I was feeding my body things that were quietly making me weaker." Now, instead of grapes, she snacks on cherries. Instead of banana smoothies, she makes blueberry ones. And she's back to dancing, with joy, grace, and strength. Speech balloon story number 2. The man who stopped eating pineapple smoothies and felt his legs lighten. Name, Tom D., 68. Location: Tampa, Florida. Problem: burning sensation in calves, leg fatigue. Change made: replaced pineapple with berries. Result: improved sleep, reduced pain, better energy. Tom was always active. He walked 5 days a week, did light resistance training, and ate clean. Every morning, he made himself a smoothie with spinach, Greek yogurt, banana, and pineapple, thinking he was doing everything right for his health. But over the past year, he started noticing a strange burning sensation in his calves. It wasn't constant, but it was enough to make him pause during his walks. He also felt unusually tired by midday, and his legs often felt like they were dragging. He went to his doctor, who suggested mild circulation issues, but no serious concerns. Still, Tom wanted answers. When he came across an article about how pineapple affects older adults, especially those with sensitive joints and poor circulation, he decided to test it for himself. He removed pineapple from his smoothies and replaced it with frozen blueberries and a splash of beetroot juice. Within 2 weeks, the burning in his calves began to fade. By the 3rd week, he noticed that his energy levels stayed steadier throughout the day. He could walk longer without feeling fatigued. His wife even commented that he seemed lighter on his feet. "I never thought fruit could do this," Tom admitted. "I always believed if it was natural, it was good for you. Turns out, some fruits just don't work well for our aging bodies." Now, Tom sticks with berry-based smoothies and avoids pineapple altogether. And he feels like a new man. Speech balloon story number 3. Mangoes were hurting her joints until she switched to papaya. Name: Maria G., 74. Location: San Antonio, Texas. Problem: joint stiffness, leg heaviness, difficulty walking. Change made: replaced mangoes with papaya. Result: less inflammation, more energy, improved mobility. Maria loved tropical fruits. Her favorite was mango, sweet, juicy, and refreshing. She ate it nearly every week, either sliced fresh or blended into smoothies. But lately, she had been struggling. Her legs felt heavier than ever. Her fingers hurt when she opened jars. Even walking to the mailbox became tiring. She assumed it was just part of getting older. But one day, while watching a health program on TV, she heard a nutritionist talk about how high-sugar fruits can contribute to joint pain and inflammation in seniors. The word mango caught her attention. She looked up more information online and found a list of fruits to avoid after 60. Mango was near the top. Determined to see what would happen, Maria swapped mangoes for papaya, a similar-looking tropical fruit, but much gentler on blood sugar and inflammation. Within a few weeks, she noticed a shift. Her hands stopped aching. Her legs didn't feel as heavy anymore. She could walk around her neighborhood without needing to stop halfway. "I feel like I got my body back," Maria said. "It's amazing how one change can make such a big difference." Now, she shares her story with friends at her church and encourages them to rethink their fruit choices. Speech balloon story number 4. Orange juice was causing morning stiffness until she switched to green tea. Name: James L., 69. Location: Boston, Massachusetts. Problem: knee stiffness in the mornings, leg discomfort. Change made: replaced orange juice with green tea. Result: reduced inflammation, easier movement, better flexibility. James had always been a breakfast person. Every morning, he'd have a bowl of oatmeal, a boiled egg, and a tall glass of orange juice, his go-to since college. But lately, he'd been waking up with stiff knees. He had trouble bending them first thing in the morning. He also felt a dull ache in his calves after sitting for long periods. His doctor told him it was likely early-stage arthritis. James accepted that explanation until he met a friend who mentioned how citrus fruits can irritate inflamed joints. Curious, James did some research and found that oranges and orange juice contain citric acid, which can worsen joint pain and stiffness, especially in seniors. So he decided to cut orange juice from his routine and replace it with green tea, known for its anti-inflammatory properties. To his surprise, within a few weeks, his morning stiffness eased. He could bend his knees more easily. His legs felt looser and less painful. "I wish I had known this sooner," James said. "I thought orange juice was helping me stay healthy. Turns out, it was making things worse." Now he starts his mornings with warm water and lemon, followed by a cup of green tea. And he moves through his day with more ease than he's felt in years. Speech balloon story number 5. Green apples were causing night cramps until she switched to pears. Name: Sandra T., 66. Location: Denver, Colorado. Problem: leg cramps at night, muscle tightness. Change made: replaced green apples with pears. Result: better sleep, fewer cramps, improved rest. Sandra was a retired teacher who loved reading before bed. To keep herself awake, she'd snack on apple slices, usually green ones, because she thought they were lower in sugar. But over time, she started waking up in the middle of the night with intense leg cramps. They were so bad that she had to get up, stretch, and walk around just to get them to stop. She tried magnesium supplements, hydration, and even changed her mattress, but nothing worked consistently. Then, she read an article about how malic acid in green apples can irritate muscles and cause nighttime cramping in seniors. That hit close to home. She decided to stop eating green apples before bed and switch to pear slices instead. Almost immediately, her cramps began to subside. Within 2 weeks, she was sleeping straight through the night without any interruptions. I was shocked, Sanders said. I never thought a simple snack could be messing with my sleep. Now, she enjoys pears with almond butter and says her legs feel more relaxed than they have in years. Speech balloon story number 6. Watermelon was making her ankles swell until she switched to cantaloupe. Name: Robert M., 72. Location: Miami, Florida. Problem: ankle swelling by evening, leg fatigue. Change made: replaced watermelon with cantaloupe. Result: reduced swelling, better circulation, lighter steps. Robert loved summer. He lived near the beach and enjoyed picnics with his grandchildren. One of his favorite foods was watermelon, refreshing, hydrating, and guilt-free.